Easiest way that I can express how to go after the prophetic for you is in a story that I love that I actually included in the Growing Up with God book. I wrote it into the story. But a young friend of mine who was going after acting in Hollywood, his family actually moved from Atlanta, Georgia. They were going through a job loss as a family, and they were even going through some marriage problems, nothing super serious, but just some marriage. They weren't in crisis, but just some problems. And they moved out because their son told them, God has told me I'm supposed to be an actor. And he had such just a grace on his life and such a strength inside of him that they actually really felt it was God, and they moved to LA. Can you imagine? He was 10 when they first moved out. When he was 11, he'd got some commercials. They were making enough money managing him because of just he was working enough, but he wasn't getting into the greater types of roles yet that he was feeling like he was going to be getting, but he was getting nearer and nearer to them. As a matter of fact, he was up for one of the biggest auditions of his life for a Disney show, and for one of the main characters on the show. And his mom and dad, I think it was his dad, asked him, we need to ask God why you're supposed to be an actor. Why are you supposed to be an actor? Like, why do you think God's given this to you? And he goes, well, it's my destiny. Like, that's why God gave me my destiny. And he said, no, there's something more to this. And I feel like you need to have God even more deeply grounded and rooted in you in this area, because he spoke to us, we got this far, but he needs to speak to us again about it. I just feel like he has something to say. So his son went off and seriously spent time with God about it, which getting an 11-year-old to go spend time with God and actually pray and ask God some big questions, that's a pretty big deal. And I know a lot of 11-year-olds who would do that, but it's not common. I know them because I'm around those kinds of spheres, not because that's a common thing. And so he went away and prayed, and he came out crying from his room. And he said, I missed it. My destiny isn't acting. And they were like, what? And he said, my destiny is to love all the producers and directors and other actors and grips and craft services and everybody involved. And I'm supposed to be there for them. I'm supposed to show God's love to them. That my calling is acting, but I've had my calling so focused, in my focus that I've actually not even understood my destiny, and I haven't loved well yet, but I'm called to love. So they were so impacted by this, they went into the audition, the next day, and there was a little boy that was always in competition to him and always got the roles whenever they would audition against each other, and he happened to be in that audition as well. And his mom looked and goes, oh, there's so-and-so, and it's the competition, and he goes, oh, okay. And the little boy was really sick, and he goes, Mom, I got to pray for him. And she's like, honey, he just had like a cold, like a flu, like I have, like just a flu. And she said, honey, let's talk about this. Before you decide to pray for him, let's talk about this. Number one is if you pray for him right now, his mom, or ask him for prayer, if you can pray for him, his mom might get mad at you because you're bringing religion into a job. And that might be detrimental to your career. It's okay, but I just want you to think of all the options of what can happen. Number two is the casting director or whoever can walk in, see you're using this for religion, and get mad at you. Number three is he might get healed, and then he gets the role. She goes, if you think about those and you still want to take the risk, I'll be proud of you either way, whatever you feel like God's telling you to do. And he goes, Mom, he's my destiny. I have to pray for him. So he goes over and he's like, hey, I'm a Christian. I mean, can you imagine how cute that would be, a little 11-year-old coming to your son, like while you're on audition, and he's asking the mom, can I pray? And he's asking the son, can I pray for you? I believe God can heal you. And I just want to pray really simply because I just feel like you're here for a reason. And, and he's like, yeah, and they loved it. And he prayed for him. And then he walked away, and the mom's like, did he get healed? He goes, I don't know. She's like, did you ask him? He's like, no, I just prayed for him. And so then the casting director came in right then and asked the little boy who had been sick to come in. And he not only was healed, but he did so well that the casting director came in and said, we don't need to hear from anybody else. We found the person who we're going to choose. So the little sick boy gets healed, gets the part. And the mom asked, my little friend says, how do you feel? Like he got the part because you prayed for him, and God healed him. Like, are you okay? And he goes, I just fulfilled my destiny.